probably going to be one of the hardest videos that I have ever done. For those of you who have been watching my channel, you know that I don't really share any of my personal life with you in terms of my family or anything. And hopefully, I'm able to get the words out. So this video may possibly be all over the place, but I'm sharing this video not to make you feel sad or not to make you feel depressed, but I'm sharing this video to help someone who may possibly be going through the same situation as my family and I. Okay, so today is Saturday when I'm creating this video, and today makes 1 week since my husband's son passed. And I feel like no parent wants to ever hear the news that their child has passed on. I don't think any parent wants to hear that news, and it's quite devastating. And it's really rough for my husband. I'm trying to be as supportive as I can be because I don't know exactly how he's feeling in terms of, because that's his son and that was his only son. And so it's so rough for him. He was crying a lot, wailing, but he's had his good days, probably bad days. And I'm just trying to be there for him as his wife. And that was my stepson. So I never told people I had stepchildren. I told people I had 6 children, and the 6 children would have come from the 4 that I gave birth to, and the 2 that I've been blessed with through my husband. So it's really rough. When we heard the news on Saturday, we both didn't sleep for about 2, 3 days, having headaches and just trying to wrap our brains around what actually happened, just to say process it. That was kind of hard, and I'm sure more so him than me, because not to say I don't feel it, I feel it too, but that's his son, so it's like a different connection coming from a father son than a stepmother son, if that makes sense. And I've been trying to encourage him because I know exactly how it feels to lose someone so close. I haven't lost my children, and I'm grateful that my children are still here. But I lost my mother at a very young age. I was 12 years old. That really hurt me. And to this day, it still hurts. And I'm 45 and it still hurts. So I am able to just deal with it, because time helps you to deal with it. And so I'm able to talk to my husband because I believe that you should talk. Talking helps you to be able to process it, and talking helps you to be able to deal with it. And of course, time helps you to be able to deal with it. So if you are going through a situation where you lost a loved one, even though you may not like what happened, you may not be able to accept what happened, that's fine. Um, I always say God does not make mistakes. Even though we may not be happy with the situation, God never makes a mistake. And the timing may be bad because EJ, because it's my husband's junior, my husband's name is Edwin. EJ was such a respectful young man. He was young. He was only 23. And I think that's the part my husband probably is wrapping his brain around, because he was 23 and so full of life, didn't have a child, and he was in the process. He just bought property and was trying to save money to start his foundation. So his direction as a young man, he had what people would say, he had a good head on his body. And so I think that's why my husband is finding it so hard to deal with, because he was so young, and it's not like he was a problem child. He was not a problem child at all. And we're trying to understand, like, why. Like, like if he was sick, then we could sort of processes it, and we would say, well, okay, he was sick, so it's a possibility it could go this way or that way. But he wasn't sick. He was a healthy young man. But he got into a motorcycle accident. That is how he passed. Sad because no one was there. It happened in the early morning hours, and he was by himself, and they didn't find him until 7:30 in the morning. So this may have possibly happened between 4 and 7. I think my husband feels bad because he feels as if he could have done something, but like I tried to explain to my husband, technically there's nothing that you could have done. You weren't there, and he's an adult. You may not like the fact that he was on a motorcycle or even on a motorcycle, but he's an adult, and if that is what he wants, he's going to do it. You could only advise your children. You can't live your life for your children, but it hurts. It still hurts. It's been a week and it hurts because I feel like maybe we have more questions than answers. But I am trying to assure my husband that it's okay to cry. It's okay to talk about him. It's okay to cry, because that is what happens when you are going through the grieving process. And it's okay to have the feelings that you have. And sometimes people take grieving so lightly, and people think you shouldn't cry. I remember my Grammy, she's passed on a long time. She used to say crying don't bring back the dead, but crying is a part of grieving. It's better for you to get it out of your system. And when I say get it out of your system, like the feelings that you are feeling because you are hurt, and those feelings are valid. So I feel like if someone wants to cry, it's okay to cry. If they want to scream, it's okay to scream. If they want to talk about it, it's okay to talk about it. Because I remember when I lost my mother, um, I I don't think I quite got the treatment that I should have gotten because I wasn't able to deal with it. Like I think for like 2 years you couldn't say the word mother, mummy, mom. You couldn't say any of those things around me. So my husband is doing very good and I'm very proud of him. I took off some days from work and I stayed home with him, just to be that crying shoulder or just to be that person, just to encourage him and just to try tell him it's going to be okay and you're going to get through this. And sometimes you need people, but you need to be around family. You need to be around people who are going to help you to get through it. And I was telling him, like, and this could just be a personal choice because when my mom passed, I didn't want anybody to say, have my sympathy, have my condolences, but he's different. He said he likes the fact that people are thinking about him and thinking about the situation, and they're, I guess, by them telling him that he could see like people really cared. People feel sympathy, people feel sincerity, and they want him to understand that they know exactly what it is that he's going through and they are there to support him. But being a child, I didn't really care to hear that, to be honest. Maybe it might be different now, but I tell my husband, like, just hold on to the memories. And I think he feels really bad now because, he's not, we haven't went through the burial yet. And I feel like maybe when we get to that point, that then maybe the actual healing will then start to begin. It's not easy to lose a loved one. It's not easy, and this was his only son. So I I I feel it for him. I really do feel it for him because I guess he feels as if there's no one else to carry on his legacy because boys carry on their father's names. Girls normally females take on their husband's names, but males carry their daddy's names. And so I feel like he's probably grappling with the fact that it will end with him in terms of the name. And so I think he's trying to come to terms with that. And then also, um, I think maybe he felt like when he got the news, he wanted to hear, well, he knew it was some bad news. He just didn't know it was going to be to the extent to which it was. He was hoping that son's mother would have said, okay, he got hurt, but he's okay. He's in the hospital. I think if he heard that, he probably would have been okay with that. But to know that, hey, my son died and there's nothing I could do and he's never coming back. I think that is probably the part that he is trying to come to grips with. That is the part that he can't seem to, I guess, wrap his brain around. And that's what hurting him so much because death is final. It's not like he's going to come back and say, hey, I'm okay. No. But he was healthy again. He was healthy. He was only 23. He was healthy, just trying to start to begin his life. And so I think that has really bothered my husband. Like today, he went to work. And sometimes you have to keep busy. You may not like the situation, but sometimes if you are busy, not to say because you will always be thinking about your loved one. Again, my mom died when I was 13, 12. And I'm 45 and I still think about her to this day. So you will always be thinking about the person. Time just helps you to be able to deal with it, to be able to cope with it, to be at peace with what happened. But again, had he been sick, it wouldn't have been so bad. But to know that he was just a healthy, striving young man, it hurts. It really hurts. And um, again, I try to tell him, just think about the memories. Think about the memories that you shared. I've been with his dad for 12 years. So I don't know how much that is. And he was 23. Right now I can't think about the math, but I've known him for 12 years. I've been in his life for 12 years. Almost 12 years. Almost 12 years. I've been in his life and I know what type of person he is. And he's a very quiet person, just like my husband is. He's his child. He's very quiet, very mannerly. He's not really a frenzy type person. Um, and like I say, he had a head on his body because he got property and was saving the bills. So that should tell you what type of person he was. And then even with the motorcycle accident, he was responsible. He was wearing his helmet. Like I told my husband, God doesn't make mistakes. And even though we may not like the outcome, we just have to trust God. And that is what you have to do. You just have to trust God. And it says God will never put more on us than we can bear, and He will never leave us nor forsake us. And those are things that we have to always keep in the back of our minds. And we always have the surety that if we live our lives according to God's will, we will get to see our loved ones one day. Death is final here on earth, but there's a life after death. And if we live, like I said, a life according to what God wants for us, we have the surety that we will see our loved ones again one day. But I'm glad that my husband is okay. Like I said, he have his good days, he have his bad days, but I think he thinks about them constantly because it's still early. Um, and so, and again, like I said, um, he hasn't been buried yet. So I think until then, my husband is going to feel the way he feels, and even afterwards, he's going to feel the way he feels because that's that's valid. His feelings are valid, and I'm just here to help him get through it. I'm here to be a support, and not just for him, but for my stepdaughter as well. You know, um, and for my children because it's not like my children didn't know him. My children knew him, and so it's a blow for everybody. And so that is one of the reasons why I didn't really put anything out on my channel because I'm trying to just spend my time and just be there for my husband and my family. during such a difficult time, because this is a difficult time for all of us. But I just want to tell you, I know when my mom died, I kind of hated God for a minute. I was young, I was 12, and I didn't understand. But as I got older and I saw someone that had the same condition as my mother, I was so grateful that God took her because she didn't have to suffer. But again, my husband's son's situation is different. He wasn't sick. And so I think this is kind of hard for a person to deal with. Now, if someone is sick, you kind of feel bad, but then you could understand that. But when they're not sick, I think it's even harder. It's even harder. And then he feel like he should have had his son closer to him. But I told him your son was a man, you know. And so you want your children to go out there and have their own lives. So, but I think that's just how parents feel. Like it's they always feel like it's something more they could have done, but you did what you could have done, and I feel like there's nothing else you could have done. So for parents who are feeling like they could have done something better or different, your feelings are valid, but when your children are adults, they're going to do things their way, and they're going to still, because you instill morals and values in them, they're still going to have these at the forefront of their mind, but they still have to live their lives. And so I just want to say out there to all those persons who have lost, whether it's your children, whether it's your parents, whether it's your siblings, it's a hard process, but just know that um, it's okay. The way you feel, it's okay. The way you feel, and time will help you to be able to deal with the situation. Time will help you to be able to process the situation, and time will be able to bring you that peace that you need. So that is it for this video. Hopefully, I'm able to encourage someone. Hopefully, I'm able to shed some light on the situation. And I just want to say that for those persons who are going through it, you are not alone. And I want you to know that you are not alone. And if I could get through it dealing with my mom, you'll be able to get through it. And I'm sure my husband will be able to get through it because we serve a God above. And again, God never makes mistakes, and He will never put more on us than we can bear. So I will see you in a future video. Be blessed. Bye.